I'm calling the police. Sarah Mitchell's finger hovered over her phone as she stared down at the woman in seat 2A. The entire first-class cabin held its breath. You have 60 seconds to move to economy, or you're getting arrested for fraud. Immediate crisis. Amara Williams didn't flinch. Her boarding pass clearly showed first class, seat 2A, but Sarah's 15-year airline veteran instincts screamed otherwise. This ticket is obviously fake. Sarah's voice carried through the cabin. Security will scan it properly. Passengers started recording. The tension was electric. A businessman in 1C whispered, "This is going to be all over TikTok." "Ma'am, please don't make this harder than it needs to be," Sarah continued, her tone dripping with false concern. "We know your type tries this scam every day." Amara's fingers traced the edge of her leather portfolio. Inside were documents that would end Sarah's career in precisely 7 minutes. But Sarah had no idea who she was threatening. These real-life stories of discrimination happen daily. Black stories like this become touching stories that expose uncomfortable truths. Question. Hook. Have you ever been accused of fraud while holding the power to destroy your accuser's entire world? 2:18 p.m. The phone call. Sarah Mitchell's fingers stabbed the security button like she was declaring war. Flight 447. First-class emergency. Passenger with fraudulent documents refusing to comply. Every head turned. The cabin temperature seemed to drop 10 degrees. Amara Williams sat motionless in 2A, her boarding pass clearly visible on her lap. The words "first class" couldn't be clearer. "Ma'am, security will be here in 90 seconds, Sarah announced, loud enough for the entire cabin to hear. "I suggest you move voluntarily." The humiliation campaign. David Chen, head purser, rushed forward with the efficiency of a man who'd handled this type before. "What's the situation?" he asked Sarah, his eyes already judging Amara. "Fake ticket. Classic scam," Sarah's voice carried to every passenger. "They always dress up nice, thinking we won't notice." The businessman in 1C pulled out his phone. Within seconds, he was live streaming to his 15,000 LinkedIn followers. "Are you recording this?" Sarah asked him, suddenly delighted. "Perfect. Let everyone see how we handle ticket fraud." David nodded approvingly. "We get 3 or 4 of these every week. People think expensive clothes fool us." Amara's phone buzzed. The caller ID flashed, Marcus Thompson, CEO. She declined without looking up. "Ignoring important calls?" Sarah smirked. "Probably your accomplice wondering why the scam isn't working." The viral moment. The passenger in 2C joined the filming. Her TikTok livestream started with 23 viewers. Within 2 minutes, 156. Then 342. Comments exploded. "This is straight racism. Why won't she just move? Document everything."
Someone call the news."
Sarah noticed the growing audience and preened. "Good. Everyone should see this." She turned to address the cameras directly. "This is what happens when people try to steal services they didn't pay for." No exceptions. The live stream hit 891 viewers. At Justice Watch retweeted it to 1.2 million followers. David checked his watch. "Ma'am, you have 60 seconds before security arrives. Last chance to avoid arrest. The countdown begins." 60, David announced. Amara's leather portfolio shifted slightly in her lap. A corner of official letterhead peeked out. "Williams Holdings, LLC, 55. Sarah radioed again. "Security, what's your ETA?" Passenger is becoming belligerent. Amara hadn't said a word in 3 minutes. 50. A child in 4A started crying. "Mommy, why are they being mean to that lady?" "Shh, honey. Some people don't belong in nice places. 45. The live stream exploded to 1,847 viewers. Comments poured in faster than humanly readable. Amara's phone buzzed again. This time, emergency board meeting authorized. All voting members. She let it ring. 40. Sarah's confidence peaked. See how quiet she's gotten? They always fold when consequences arrive. 35. David keyed his radio. Captain, we'll have this resolved momentarily. Passenger will be removed. 30. Amara finally moved. She opened her portfolio slightly, revealing the edge of a document. The letterhead read, Share Ownership Certificate. 25. Sarah noticed Amara's movement. Finally, coming to your senses? Good. Start gathering your things. 20. Amara's voice cut through the cabin like a blade. David, before you reach 0, I have one question. He paused. What? Who do you think owns this airline? The first crack. The question landed like a physical blow. David's counting stuttered. Sarah laughed, but it sounded forced. What kind of question is that? You think you can distract us with riddles? It's not a riddle, Amara replied calmly. It's a legitimate business question. Her portfolio gaped slightly wider. The words 34% controlling interest were briefly visible. David's face changed color. His airline experience suddenly felt very inadequate. 15, he continued, but his voice cracked. The live stream hit 2,300 viewers. Someone had alerted news outlets. 3 verified journalists joined the live comments. 10. Sarah noticed David's hesitation. Don't let her mind games work. She's desperate. 5. Amara looked directly at Sarah. Last chance to apologize. Sarah's laugh was pure venom. Apologize? For what? Doing my job? 4. Security's voices echoed from the jet bridge. 3. Amara's phone lit up with an incoming call. Board chairman, urgent. 2. She answered. Miss Williams, we need you in London immediately. The Meridian acquisition vote is tonight. The cabin fell dead silent. Every camera caught her response. I'll be there. But first, I need to handle some employee discipline issues. 2:22 p.m. Security arrives. 2 airport security officers boarded with practiced authority. Officer Martinez led, his hand resting on his radio. Officer Johnson scanned the cabin. Where's the issue? Martinez asked David. Sarah pointed at Amara triumphantly. Seat 2A, fraudulent documentation, refusing lawful orders. The live stream viewer count hit 3,247. Seatgate exploded across platforms. Martinez approached Amara. Ma'am, I need your identification and boarding pass. Amara handed over her documents silently. Her leather portfolio remained closed in her lap. The examination Martinez studied the boarding pass under his flashlight. The holographic security features caught the light perfectly. The paper quality felt authentic. These look legitimate, he murmured to David. Sarah's voice carried across the cabin. That's exactly what good fakes look like. Don't let her fool you. Ma'am, Martinez addressed Amara. How did you obtain this first-class seat? I purchased it, Amara replied calmly. With what credit card? Sarah demanded. Show us the receipt. Amara's phone buzzed. An unknown number. She declined the call. David pulled out his tablet. I'll check the reservation system. The system glitch. David's fingers flew across the tablet screen. His expression grew confused. That's strange. The system shows the seat as legitimately purchased, but what? Sarah pressed. "The payment method is unusual. It shows corporate billing, but I can't access the account details." Sarah snatched the tablet. "Corporate billing? What company would pay for her?" The screen showed reserved, corporate account, restricted access. "See," Sarah announced loudly. "She's using some kind of stolen corporate account, probably identity theft." Phone calls multiply. Amara's phone rang again. This time she glanced at the screen. "Board chairman, urgent." She declined again. Martinez radioed dispatch. "Need a supervisor at gate 23. Passenger documents appear legitimate, but crew insists they're fraudulent." Sarah's radio crackled. "Flight 447. This is operations." "Status report?" "Minor passenger issue," Sarah replied confidently. "Security is handling removal." "Understood. Resolve quickly. We have VIP passengers monitoring this flight." Sarah smiled. Even corporate was backing her up. Social media frenzy. The original live stream hit 8,500 viewers. 3 other passengers started filming. TikTok videos multiplied exponentially. Comments flooded in. "This is so wrong. Why won't she just move? Something doesn't add up. Plot twist coming." At Justice Watch retweeted to 1.2 million followers. Celebrity accounts joined the conversation. News outlets picked up the story. The hashtag "Black Woman Removed from Flight" started trending nationally. Captain's pressure. Captain Morrison's voice filled the cabin. "Flight attendants, we need immediate resolution. Air traffic control is asking for our departure time." He called operations directly. "What's the holdup with passenger boarding?" "Captain, we have a passenger dispute in first class. Crew believes fraudulent documentation." Morrison sighed. 30 years of flying, and passenger disputes still gave him headaches. "How long to resolve?" "Unknown, sir. Security is investigating." The pressure builds. Martinez studied Amara carefully. Something didn't fit. Her calm demeanor, expensive clothes, and quiet confidence didn't match a typical scammer profile. "Ma'am, can you provide additional identification?" Amara reached into her portfolio. For a moment, official letterhead became visible before she pulled out her driver's license. Sarah caught a glimpse. "What was that paperwork?" "Personal documents," Amara replied. "Show us," David demanded. "No." The simple refusal hung in the air like a challenge. Corporate calls begin. Sarah's radio crackled again. "Flight 447. We're receiving inquiries from upper management. What's your exact situation?" Sarah's confidence wavered slightly. "Upper management? Corporate legal is asking for details. Resolve immediately." David's tablet chimed with a priority message. "Check passenger manifest. VIP alert." He opened the message. His face went pale. "What does it say?" Sarah demanded. It says to verify passenger Williams immediately. Priority 1. The warning signs. Amara's phone rang constantly now. She declined call after call. Marcus Thompson, CEO. Emergency board meeting. Legal department, URGENT. Each declined call made Sarah more nervous. Martinez noticed the pattern. "Ma'am, those seem like important calls." "They can wait," Amara replied quietly. A passenger in 2C whispered loudly enough for everyone to hear. "Why would a scammer get so many business calls?" Sarah's certainty began cracking. The system revelation. David's tablet finally loaded the full passenger record. What he saw made him grab Sarah's arm. "We need to talk. Privately." "No," Sarah said loudly. Whatever it is, say it here. I'm not falling for any tricks. David's voice dropped to a whisper. The corporate account. It's not stolen. What do you mean? It's a primary shareholder account. Sarah's face went white. That's impossible. The live stream count hit 15,000. News vans were racing to the airport. The final escalation. Amara finally stood, her movement graceful and deliberate. She was taller than anyone expected, her presence suddenly commanding the entire cabin. Officer Martinez, am I being detained? We're investigating, he replied uncertainly. On what grounds? Martinez looked to Sarah for support. She had none to give. Amara's phone rang one final time. The caller ID showed, Board vote, cannot proceed. She looked at the phone, then at Sarah, then back at the phone. I think, she said quietly, it's time for some explanations. She reached for her portfolio. Sarah lunged forward. Don't let her destroy evidence. But Amara's hand was already inside, grasping documents that would change everything. The cabin held its breath. Outside, news vans pulled up to the airport. Inside, 15,000 people watched live as the most expensive airline mistake in history was about to unfold. Amara's fingers closed around the papers that would end careers and change corporate policy forever. Are you sure you want me to open this? She asked Sarah one final time. Sarah's voice cracked. Do whatever you want. You're going to jail anyway. Amara smiled for the first time since boarding. We'll see about that. 2:28 p.m. The portfolio opens. Amara's fingers moved with surgical precision. The leather portfolio opened like Pandora's box, revealing documents that would shatter everyone's assumptions. The first paper emerged. Heavyweight stock, embossed letterhead, legal seals that screamed authenticity. Sarah leaned forward, expecting to see fake boarding passes or forged IDs. Instead, she saw words that made her blood freeze. Williams Holdings, LLC, controlling shareholder agreement. Meridian Airlines, Inc. David read over Sarah's shoulder. His tablet slipped from his hands. What? What is that? Sarah whispered. The revelation unfolds. Amara pulled the document fully into view. Every passenger with a phone zoomed in. The live stream exploded to 18,000 viewers. Ownership stake, 34.7%. Status, primary shareholder, voting authority, controlling interest. The cabin fell dead silent. Even the engines seemed to quiet. Martinez stared at the document, his security training useless for this scenario. Ma'am, is this authentic? Officer Martinez, you can verify these documents with Meridian's legal department. The number is on the letterhead. Sarah's voice cracked. That's impossible. You can't own. People can't just. People like me? Amara's question cut like glass. The second document. Before anyone could process the first bombshell, Amara revealed document number 2. Board of Directors. Appointment letter. Amara Williams, Board Chairman. Term, indefinite. The live stream comments exploded. She's the chairman? Sarah is so dead. This is insane. Best plot twist ever. David's knees buckled. He grabbed the nearest seat for support. Sarah stared at the documents like they were written in alien language. Her brain refused to process what her eyes were seeing. The third document changes. Everything. Amara wasn't finished. The third document made everyone gasp. Employee Disciplinary Charter. Chairman Authority. Termination powers immediate. Sarah's 15-year career flashed before her eyes. Every evaluation, every promotion, every disciplinary action, all ultimately controlled by the woman she'd just tried to have arrested.
This has to be fake, Sarah stammered.
She printed these at home. David's tablet chimed with a priority alert. He read the message and his face went ash gray. "What does it say?" Sarah demanded. David's voice came out strangled. "Priority alert from corporate legal. Quote, Board Chairman Williams on Flight 447. Ensure premium service. Any service failures report to CEO immediately." End quote. The phone rings. As if summoned by the mention of CEO, Amara's phone rang. The caller ID showed Marcus Thompson, CEO, Meridian Airlines. Every eye in the cabin focused on the phone. Amara looked at Sarah. "Should I answer this on speaker? Or would you prefer privacy for what's about to happen?" Sarah's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. Amara answered on speaker. "Ms. Williams, this is Marcus Thompson. I've been trying to reach you urgently. The entire cabin and 22,000 live stream viewers listened to every word." "Hello, Marcus. I'm currently experiencing some customer service issues on Flight 447. A pause. Then Thompson's voice, careful and professional. "What kind of issues?" The accusation. Amara's voice remained perfectly calm. "Two of your employees have spent the last 10 minutes accusing me of fraud, attempting to have me arrested, and trying to forcibly remove me from a seat I legitimately purchased." The silence stretched for 5 seconds. Then Thompson's voice, tight with barely controlled panic. "Which employees?" "Sarah Mitchell and David Chen. Both witnessed by passengers and currently being live-streamed to 22,000 viewers." The silence this time lasted 10 seconds. "Ms. Williams, please tell me this is some kind of misunderstanding." Sarah found her voice. "She's lying. She had fake documents. She was trying to—" "Sarah Mitchell, I presume?" Thompson's voice cut through her protests like ice, the CEO's recognition. "Ms. Williams, I'm looking at Sarah Mitchell's employee file now.
She has a concerning pattern of customer complaints." Amara opened her portfolio wider, revealing more documents. "Marcus, I've been reviewing our discrimination incident reports. There's definitely a pattern." Sarah's face went white as snow. Thompson continued, 7 formal complaints in 18 months, all involving similar demographic assumptions. The live stream erupted. "She's done this before. Pattern of racism. Fire her now." The trapped moment. Sarah realized she was trapped in a conversation between her ultimate boss and her target, broadcast live to thousands. Every word was being recorded. Every excuse would be preserved forever. "Mr. Thompson," she tried desperately. "There were legitimate concerns about document fraud." "Sarah," Amara interrupted quietly, "would you like to see the credit card receipt for this seat? Or perhaps the corporate purchase authorization?" More documents appeared from the portfolio, purchase confirmations, corporate billing statements. Everything legitimate, everything traceable, everything proving Sarah had profiled an innocent passenger. The witnesses speak. Martinez stepped forward. "Sir, I've examined all documents. They appear completely legitimate." The businessman in 1C spoke up. "I recorded the entire incident. The passenger was sitting quietly when your staff began harassing her." Other passengers nodded agreement. The woman in 3A added, "She never raised her voice or became aggressive. Your staff was hostile from the beginning." Thompson's voice carried new gravity. "Ms. Williams, I'm implementing immediate corrective measures." "What kind of measures?" Amara asked. "The stakes rise. Full investigation.
Immediate suspension of involved parties pending review. And I want to meet with you personally in London tonight. Amara consulted her phone. I have a board meeting at 6 p.m. London time. We're voting on the Frankfurt acquisition. The $100 million deal? $200 million, actually. The numbers changed. Sarah realized she hadn't just harassed a passenger. She'd potentially jeopardized a deal worth more than her salary for the next 1,000 years. The social media explosion. The live stream hit 30,000 viewers. Major news outlets picked up the story. At CNN, airline discrimination incident goes viral. At MSNBC, passenger reveals shocking ownership. At BBC, breaking, U.S. airline faces discrimination crisis. Celebrity accounts retweeted. Politicians commented. The story jumped platforms at viral speed. The power dynamic revealed. Amara stood gracefully, her full presence now commanding the cabin. She was no longer just a passenger being harassed. She was the owner of the airline, the boss of everyone involved, and the person whose approval determined their careers. "Sarah," she said quietly, "do you understand what just happened?" Sarah's voice came out as a whisper. I didn't know." "You didn't know my identity. But you knew I had a legitimate ticket. You knew I was well-dressed and polite. You knew other passengers were uncomfortable with your behavior. Each word landed like a hammer blow. You chose to escalate anyway. Quite the question that breaks everything." Sarah couldn't answer. The truth was too ugly to speak aloud on a live stream watched by 30,000 people. David found his voice. "Ms. Williams, we sincerely apologize for any misunderstanding. This wasn't a misunderstanding, David. This was a choice." Thompson's voice crackled through the speaker. "Ms. Williams, how would you like to proceed?" Amara looked around the cabin. Passengers with phones, officers with radios, crew members with careers hanging in the balance. "Marcus, I think we need to have a very serious conversation about systematic changes." "Absolutely. Whatever you recommend." "Good, because this incident has exposed problems that go far beyond 2 employees." The cliffhanger. Sarah stood frozen, understanding that her world had just ended, but not yet knowing how. David disappeared into the galley, probably planning his resignation letter. Martinez and Johnson backed away, their job suddenly infinitely more complicated. The live stream continued climbing, 35,000 viewers and rising. Amara sat back down in seat 2A, her rightful place, in her own airline, having just revealed she could end careers with a phone call. But the real reckoning hadn't started yet. "Ladies and gentlemen," Captain Morrison announced, "we've been cleared for departure." The plane began to move. But for Sarah Mitchell and David Chen, their journey was just beginning, and 35,000 people were watching every second. 2:35 p.m. The battle begins. The aircraft reached cruising altitude, but the real turbulence was just starting. Amara Williams held her phone like a weapon, CEO Marcus Thompson still on speaker, while 45,000 people watched the most expensive corporate crisis in airline history unfold live. "Marcus," Amara's voice cut through the cabin silence, "I want Sarah Mitchell's complete employment file. Read it aloud." Sarah's face went ashen. "You can't. That's private personnel information. I'm the board chairman. Nothing about employee performance is private from me." Thompson's keyboard clicked audibly. "Sarah Mitchell, hired August 2009. 15 years service. 7 customer complaints filed against her in the past 18 months. The damning record. Detail the complaints," Amara commanded. Thompson's voice grew uncomfortable. September 2023. African-American businessman questioned about ticket authenticity. January 2024. Hispanic family accused of seat fraud. March 2024. Asian woman subjected to additional document verification. Each complaint hit Sarah like a physical blow. The live stream exploded. Pattern of racism. Why is she still employed? Fire her now. Sarah tried desperately to defend herself. Those were legitimate security concerns. All dismissed by David Chen, Thompson continued. Regional management classified them as customer misunderstandings. David, hiding near the galley, looked like he wanted to disappear into the aircraft walls. The corporate defense crumbles. Marcus? Amara's voice turned deadly. Who approved dismissing those complaints? Regional Manager Janet Peterson and Head Purser David Chen. So David Chen, who's standing right here, actively covered up Sarah's discrimination pattern. David stepped forward, trembling. Ms. Williams, those complaints seemed exaggerated. Sarah's a good employee with 15 years of documented racism that you helped hide. The accusation hung in the air like a bomb. Thompson's voice cracked. Ms. Williams, I'm ordering immediate investigations. No. Amara's single word stopped him cold. Investigations take months. Lawyers get involved. Evidence disappears. We're handling this right now. The Live Tribunal. Sarah found her voice, desperate. You can't fire me based on old complaints. I have union protection, due process. Amara pulled out another document. Union Contract, Section 15. Discrimination Exception Clause. Quote, employees engaging in discriminatory behavior forfeit all union protections immediately upon documented violation. Sarah's lawyer-trained brain processed the implications. But this incident, it's just a misunderstanding. Sarah, explain to 48,000 viewers why you assumed my ticket was fake. The question landed like a sledgehammer. Sarah's mouth opened and closed without sound. Explain why you called security before checking my ID. Silence. Explain why you announced my fraud loud enough for the entire cabin to hear. Sarah's defense crumbled in real time. The employee uprising. A flight attendant from economy class appeared. Maria Santos, 20-year veteran. Miss Williams, I need to speak. Please? Sarah Mitchell has made racist comments in crew meetings for years. Management ignored our complaints because she has seniority. Another crew member stepped forward. She told me last month that certain passengers always try to upgrade illegally. I reported her behavior to David Chen 3 times, added a third. He said I was being too sensitive. Sarah watched her colleagues destroy her in front of the world. The CEO's panic. Thompson's voice grew desperate. Ms. Williams, our stock price is dropping. 4% in after-hours trading. The board is demanding answers. Then give them answers, Marcus. How many Sarah Mitchells work for Meridian Airlines? I don't have that data immediately available. Find it. Now. The live stream hit 52,000 viewers. Major news outlets went live. At CNN Breaking. Airline discrimination crisis unfolds live at BBC World. Corporate accountability in real time. At Reuters, Meridian Airlines stock drops amid viral incident. The financial weapon. Amara's phone buzzed with messages from the board. Frankfurt deal partners requesting immediate conference call. Stock price affecting acquisition negotiations. Media coverage threatening international contracts. She held up her phone. Marcus, The Frankfurt acquisition partners want to discuss this incident. $200 million hanging in the balance. Thompson's breathing became audible. What do they need to hear? That discrimination has consequences. Immediate, public, permanent consequences. Sarah realized she'd become the face of corporate discrimination on a global stage. Her actions were threatening hundreds of jobs and millions in revenue. The international stakes. Amara's phone rang. International number. She answered on speaker. Ms. Williams, this is Klaus Weber, Frankfurt International Holdings. We're monitoring your situation with great concern. The entire cabin held its breath. 55,000 live stream viewers watched a $250 million deal hang in the balance. Mr. Weber, I'm addressing a serious discrimination incident involving our staff. We see that. Our board is questioning whether Meridian Airlines shares our commitment to equality and inclusion. Thompson's voice cracked. Mr. Weber, we're implementing immediate reforms. Reforms are not enough, Weber interrupted. We need to see actual accountability. Has the discriminatory employee been terminated? The impossible choice. All eyes turned to Amara. Sarah looked at her with desperate pleading. David Chen fidgeted nervously. Thompson waited for an answer that would save or destroy the deal. The live stream comments exploded. Fire her now. Justice now. Make her pay. Mr. Weber, Amara said carefully, accountability takes many forms. I believe in proportional consequences that create lasting change. Meaning, Sarah Mitchell will face consequences. But I want those consequences to educate, not just punish. Sarah's hope flickered back to life. Weber's voice, Ms. Williams, our partnership depends on your definition of appropriate consequences. The corporate ultimatum. Thompson found his voice. Ms. Williams, with respect, we cannot afford to lose the Frankfurt deal. The board will demand immediate action. Are you pressuring me to fire an employee for public relations purposes? The question trapped Thompson. Admit yes, and he looked callous. Admit no, and the deal could collapse. I'm asking for your recommendation as board chairman. Amara looked at Sarah, who was crying silently. Then at David, who looked terrified. Then at the phone connecting her to millions in international contracts. My recommendation will be based on justice, not stock prices. The social media explosion. The live stream hit 58,000 viewers. International trending topics. Hashtag corporate accountability. Hashtag airline discrimination. Hashtag justice. At altitude, comments from world leaders and celebrities poured in. The incident had become a global case study in corporate responsibility and racial justice. The moment of truth. Mr. Weber, Amara said, I need 24 hours to implement comprehensive consequences. Will Frankfurt Holdings wait for our complete response? A pause. Ms. Williams, your handling of this crisis will determine our partnership. We expect swift, decisive action. The call ended. Thompson's voice was barely a whisper. Ms. Williams, what happens now? Sarah looked up at Amara with desperate eyes. 15 years of career balanced on the edge of a blade. Now, Amara said quietly, we see if justice and business can coexist. The plane continued toward London, carrying the weight of global attention, international contracts, and one woman's decision that would define corporate accountability for years to come. But the ultimate reckoning was still 24 hours away. 8:47 p.m. London time, the reckoning, the Meridian Airlines aircraft touched down at Heathrow with 68,000 people still watching the live stream.
What had started as routine discrimination had become the most documented case of corporate justice in aviation history. As the plane taxied, Amara Williams stood in the aisle, commanding the cabin with quiet authority. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is Amara Williams, board chairman of Meridian Airlines. Today's incident demands immediate, permanent consequences." The cabin fell dead silent. The termination. Amara looked directly at Sarah Mitchell, who sat trembling in a jump seat. "Sarah Mitchell, your employment with Meridian Airlines is terminated effective immediately." The words hit like a physical blow. Sarah's face crumpled as 15 years of career evaporated. "However," Amara continued, "you have an opportunity for redemption." Sarah's head snapped up through her tears. "You will participate in a mandatory 6-month bias education program. You'll work with civil rights organizations, speak publicly about unconscious bias, and help develop training materials." The live stream exploded, fired but given chance to learn. Justice with education. Perfect balance. If you complete the program successfully, other airlines may consider hiring you. But your time at Meridian is over. Sarah nodded through her sobs. It was more than she deserved, and she knew it. David's downfall. Amara turned to David Chen, who looked like he wanted to disappear. "David, you enabled Sarah's discrimination by dismissing complaints. That makes you equally culpable." David's voice cracked. "Ms. Williams, I was trying to protect the company. You were protecting racism. Your position as head purser is terminated immediately." Another career ended with those words. "You can accept a ground position in our new bias investigation department, reporting directly to legal. Your job will be investigating the discrimination complaints you once dismissed." The irony was devastating and perfect. The corporate ultimatum CEO Thompson's voice crackled through the phone. "Ms. Williams, I've drafted comprehensive reforms. I want more than reforms, Marcus. I want revolution. What do you need?" Every employee who dismissed discrimination complaints in the past 3 years, terminated or demoted. No exceptions. The live stream went wild. Cleaning house, systematic justice. Finally, real consequences. Thompson's breathing was audible. That's dozens of managers. Then we'll hire dozens of new managers who understand that discrimination is a firing offense. The technology revolution. Second, Amara continued, Meridian Airlines will develop AI-powered bias detection for all customer interactions, real-time monitoring, immediate intervention. The cost would be enormous. The cost of discrimination is higher. We're implementing this system and sharing it with the entire airline industry. What started as a discrimination incident was becoming a technological revolution. The Frankfurt validation. Amara's phone rang with an international number. She answered on speaker. "Ms. Williams, this is Klaus Weber from Frankfurt Holdings." The cabin held its breath. The $250 million deal hung in the balance. "We've monitored your handling of this crisis. Your immediate accountability and systematic reforms exceed our highest expectations." Sarah listened as her termination actually saved the international deal. "Frankfurt Holdings is proceeding with full acquisition. Additionally, we want to license your bias detection technology for all European operations." What began as corporate embarrassment had become profitable innovation. The passenger revolt. As passengers deplaned, something unprecedented happened. They started applauding. The businessman from 1C approached Amara. "I'm ashamed I didn't speak up immediately. You've shown me what real leadership looks like." A mother with 2 children shook her hand. "My daughters watched this live stream. They'll grow up knowing that discrimination has consequences."
The elderly woman from 3A said quietly, "I lived through the civil rights era. Today felt like progress." The social media explosion. The live stream peaked at 73,000 viewers. Within hours, airline justice topped global trends. 3 airlines announced similar reforms. The Department of Transportation requested policy briefings. Harvard Business School announced a case study. Sarah's termination became a watershed moment for corporate accountability. The personal reckoning. In the jet bridge, Sarah approached Amara one final time. "Ms. Williams, I don't know how to apologize for what I did." Amara looked at her with eyes that had seen too much discrimination. "Sarah, your apology isn't words. It's what you do next. I'll complete the program. I'll speak publicly. I'll make sure this never happens to anyone else." Good. Because 73,000 people watched you destroy your career with prejudice. Now, they need to see you rebuild yourself with education. The final message. Standing before the still-active live stream, Amara delivered her closing statement. Today proved that discrimination has immediate, permanent consequences when transparency meets accountability. She looked directly into the camera. If you witness injustice, record it. If you experience discrimination, report it. If you have power, use it for justice. The live stream ended with Sarah Mitchell walking through Heathrow Airport, unemployed but not hopeless, disgraced but not destroyed, fired but given a path to redemption. Justice had been served. Education would follow. 6 months later. The human impact. Sarah Mitchell stands before 200 airline employees at a bias training session, her voice steady despite the shame in her eyes. "6 months ago, I destroyed my 15-year career in 10 minutes. I saw a well-dressed black woman in first class, and my unconscious bias told me she didn't belong there." The room is silent. Everyone has seen the viral video. "She owned the airline. I tried to have my boss arrested." Sarah's voice cracks slightly. "But the worst part wasn't losing my job. It was realizing how many passengers I'd humiliated over the years without consequences." This is her 47th speaking engagement. Each one harder than the last, but necessary. The ripple continues. Amara Williams still flies commercial every month, live streaming her journeys to 2.8 million followers. Last week, she intervened when a gate agent questioned a Latino family's boarding passes. The incident was resolved in minutes. No discrimination, just verification and apology. "One viral moment changed an entire industry," she says into her phone camera. "Imagine what happens when we all start recording injustice instead of ignoring it." The Frankfurt acquisition made Williams Holdings $340 million richer. Amara donated half to bias education programs worldwide. The personal stories. Maria Santos, the flight attendant who spoke up during the incident, was promoted to Customer Experience Director. "I spent years staying silent while Sarah made racist comments. That day taught me that silence enables discrimination." Captain Morrison received the Airline Pilots Association's Ethics Award. 30 years of flying, and I learned that real leadership means supporting passengers over problematic crew. The businessman from Seat 1, C-Tech entrepreneur James Chen, created an app called Witness that helps bystanders document and report discrimination. It has 400,000 users. The global movement. The video sparked touching stories of courage across industries. A hotel manager in Tokyo fired front desk staff for discriminating against Muslim guests. A restaurant owner in London installed bias monitoring after watching Amara's story. These real-life stories prove that individual action creates systematic change. When Black stories of discrimination are captured and shared, they become catalysts that transform entire cultures. The power isn't in staying silent. It's in speaking up. Your moment of truth. Right now, someone is being discriminated against in an airport, restaurant, or hotel. Someone with a phone could record it. Someone with courage could speak up. Someone like you could change everything. What will you do? Share a time you witnessed discrimination in the comments below. What happened? Did you speak up? What would you do differently now? If this story gave you chills, share it with 3 people who need to see that ordinary citizens can create extraordinary change. Hit subscribe for more life stories that prove your voice matters. Because the next viral moment of justice could start with you. The next Sarah Mitchell is out there right now, about to discriminate against someone who doesn't deserve it. The next Amara Williams is sitting nearby with a phone and the power to change everything. Which person will you be? Your choice, your voice, your moment. Record. Speak up. Change the world.